We talk about how the United States is currently being run by children, and usually it's because of the childish way in which they govern or the childish way in which they think about geopolitical issues or the way that they try to appeal to low information Trumpists. It's a very long list of childish type behavior, but now we have something new to add to the list. The Washington Post is reporting that Donald Trump regularly adopts one of those stereotypical fake Indian accents when talking about or quoting Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This was part of a follow-up report to the now infamous Shithole Countries report, where Donald Trump was referencing Haiti and El Salvador and some African countries. We know that Trump did that. We know that Trump has referred to Senator Elizabeth Warren as Pocahontas, referencing her Native American heritage. And this is now a new type of childish, using a fake stereotypical mocking Indian accent when talking about or quoting the Indian prime minister. And I've been careful not to retroactively normalize George W. Bush because George W. Bush was a depraved and horrible president. But from the point of view of diplomacy and optics, George W. Bush was comparatively like a masterful diplomat compared to Donald Trump. And that's not a praise of George W. Bush. It's just making a comparison. You really don't want to know the accents that other world leaders are using to impersonate Trump. If you think that this is bad, you should see how they see Trump's speech in other countries around the world. I never understood, speaking about Trump here for a second, when people speak one language and they sort of make fun of how people speak English as a second language or as a third language, I don't find it at all offensive to joke about accents, right? It's a really minor thing. It's often in good fun. When it comes to Trump, it's just part of his childish nature. But when you only speak one language and there's people who can speak two languages or three and communicate effectively, but with an accent in those other languages, like, what is there to make fun of? It just doesn't. It's quite impressive, actually, when people have multiple languages that they can communicate in.
There's no reason to make fun of them because they still made an effort to learn your language and can still communicate with you.
I actually find that when people think to make fun of how someone speaks a language that's their second language, the person doing the poking fun probably only speaks one language because when you speak multiple languages, you understand how difficult it is to make yourself understood sort of in a fluid way in another language. I learned English as a second language. I learned it very young, but my native language is Spanish. And I'm around people who speak with accents all the time. It just doesn't strike me as funny. Like, it wouldn't even occur to me to mock them because, yeah, people learn languages at different ages and you don't always sound like a native speaker.
Yeah. And I understand, it can be done in a comedic setting and it can be done in jest, but it's certainly not professional.
No.
And it's certainly not presidential. And it comes across as offensive in some settings too.
Is it extra funny that Trump's English is terrible and that's the only language he speaks? He speaks at the lowest grade level of any president in the modern era of evaluating the level at which presidents speak. And he's making fun of how other people speak English. There's something weird about that,
like an
right?
English complex, I would say, like one of those complexes.
Yeah, it must have some name. I don't know what it would be, but I'm sure we can assign a name to it. Remind me, Pat, at some point to tell, this reminds me, I don't have time to tell it now, but the how do you say cheese in English story. I don't think I've ever told the story. Maybe on the bonus show. Okay. It's a good one. Join us on our subreddit where you can discuss this or any other stories from today's show. davidpakman.com/REDDIT. Today's episode of The David Pakman Show is made possible in part by Brilliant. If you watch our channel, you're into politics, you follow daily news, but maybe, like me, you want to also dig deeper. And on the program, we talk about climate change, taxes, we discuss technology and political philosophy. But to really understand these issues at the most fundamental level, you have to familiarize yourself with what's actually sort of underpinning it all. And that's math and philosophy, hard sciences, social sciences. And that's where Brilliant comes in. Brilliant is a truly unique and innovative online learning service that allows you to master important real-world math and science concepts, everything from probability and statistics to logic and problem solving, renewable energy, climate science, criminology, you name it. And you can get started right now, right this second, in fact, by signing up for free at brilliant.org/David Pakman. The first 200 people to do so, to sign up through brilliant.org/David Pakman, will also be eligible for 20% off an annual premium membership. One more time, check out Brilliant at brilliant.org/David Pakman.